Welcome to another episode of the Sports Shed podcast. To my left is Tigo. I'm your host, Efren. To my right is Z, and to his right is Zachary.
Hey there, brother.
Let's get this going. But before we do, though, I have been advised that someone actually called me out on social media because their feelings. Oh, and by the way, I have Dr. Phil on speed dial if you need that number. But I've been called out that I've hurt some feelings about a fan or fans of the Miami Dolphins because I was asked my opinion about whether the Dolphins were going to make the playoffs or not. And I said no. And I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt. Actually, no, I'm not. So here's what I have, or my offer to the individual or individuals. There is an open mic here. You are more than welcome to come at any time, any day. You can borrow this mic. You can borrow my mic or one of the Z's mics. I can stand in that corner and I'll still make my argument. And if you're still emotionally disturbed, again, I have Dr. Phil, Oprah, my family doctors on speed dial, and they can assist you emotionally. But again, the Dolphins, in my opinion, will not make the playoffs. And when you show up here, I'm going to explain to you why they're not making the playoffs. Now, moving along, yesterday's March Madness was actually pretty good and actually really good. Keelan Clark just went off. 41 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists. And I just don't know what else I can say about Keelan Clark because she just went off.
Can I ask this question?
Sure.
Do y'all think she's the best female basketball player that you ever seen so far?
100%.
100%.
In my lifetime, yeah. I'm gonna say yes. I am.
Yeah.
I don't know about the past. I'm sure that an argument can be made. Like, let's say, for example, a Breanna Stewart
Or Kelsey Plum.
Yeah. I mean, Breanna, and not because she's won the titles, but it is a factor to take into consideration. But Breanna Stewart did win 4 national titles. I believe 2 National Player of the Year and 3 times most outstanding player in the Final Four.
I remember that.
So I think Breanna Stewart may have a say in it. Now, she has not put up, like, say, the stats that Keelan Clark has put up. And yes, I understand that Breanna Stewart played for UConn, and usually they tend to be stacked. But that's not really her fault either. She got the job done. So, but at the end of the day, I will concede to say Keelan Clark is probably the GOAT in women's college basketball. So, but the other 4, South Carolina, North
State, right?
North Carolina State, and what's the other one? Oh, UConn. That's right, Gino Auriemma going to the school's 23rd Final Four. Now, you want to talk about GOAT. Now, that's a GOAT right there, boy. That's a GOAT. I mean, no disrespect to Pat Summitt, who was the coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. She set the standard, and Gino Auriemma just kind of created his own hemisphere, to be honest with you. Right. But, yeah, no. UConn or Iowa? Yeah, I know what we are going to say. You're going to say Iowa because of Keelan Clark. I get it.
Iowa.
Yeah,
I like underdogs, so I'm gonna go with UConn.
When was the last time anybody would have, if somebody would have said to you, UConn is gonna be the underdog, you probably said, "Man, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about."
Yeah,
I actually don't think UConn's the underdog.
They would have to be.
I mean,
Oh yeah, Iowa's 1.
Yes,
I forgot.
Iowa's 1.
right,
Iowa's 1.
right,
Okay.
and UConn is 3, and so, but I can't believe that actually she wanted to, believe it or not, she actually wanted to go to UConn. Okay. And at that time, he said that Gino said Paige was the best basketball player in the country at the time. And then after the game in yesterday's interview, he goes, Nah, Caden Clark is the best player.
So,
She's the best player. It's not Paige. It's Caden Clark.
I think that's just trying to warm Paige up for that game to get her hyped.
No, he didn't want to feed bulletin board material to Iowa. So I don't need to feed her anymore. I don't need to make her any more upset than she could possibly be, and then go off. And he goes, I don't want her dropping 50 on me. Right. That's what I don't want her to do. But I still got South Carolina winning the whole thing. They're undefeated. I mean, number 1 defense in the country. Yeah. But moving over to the, not to take away anything from North Carolina State, but they had a fantastic run. And in my opinion, I think it's going to come to an end when they go toe-to-toe to South Carolina. So
now I got a question here. How about NC State in the men's bracket?
Oh, you mean not your main bracket, right? You mean your secondary and your third bracket, right? That you're talking about,
my underdog bracket.
Oh, okay.
I got them as the champions.
All right. I mean, I'm
the one that did it.
Look, DJ Burns is going to go up against Zach Edey, excuse me. He's going to go up against him. Now, here's my prediction. If any of them foul out, game's over for the team that loses that one player out. Zach Edey is not a small guy. I'm not talking about his height. He's not Chet Holmgren. No disrespect to him. He's not Wemby either. He a big guy. And you got the other offensive lineman that's actually playing center. So yeah. and that's a big boy. So I think Purdue's just gonna walk away with that one, just simply because they're gonna probably hit more of their threes than NC State will. And then UConn, jeez. Yeah, man. I mean, UConn is just gonna take everything away. I mean, their average wins in the tournament is 27 points a game.
Yeah, and it's led by a 0-star recruit. 0-star recruit.
So they don't have not one main.
No, they do.
I think they do.
But their leading scorer and leading player is a 0-star recruit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, thank you for that stat, Jack, because I didn't even know that, to be honest with you. But that's what we have right now in the NCAA. 2 schools, men's and women's basketball, for the first time in the Final Four in tournament history. I think UConn's going to win it, and I think South Carolina's going to win it. But with that being said, moving on into the NBA, and Joel Embiid is back tonight against OKC. I forget who said it yesterday. With Embiid coming back, they're going to be. I'm
Danny Green.
I'm going to paraphrase: the most feared or the scariest team in the East.
Why is that?
I like to know that answer too. To be honest with you,
what makes them so scary?
I mean, I know that Embiid came back, and listen, I understand that he plays a big role, okay? Because as soon as Embiid got hurt and wasn't playing, the Sixers went 11. They are 11-19 without him. 11-19, 11-18 without him. With him, I believe they were 29-17. But they're not the scariest team in the East. And I'm telling you right now, if you say the Knicks, bro, I'm going to lose it. Seriously. And I'm not talking to my boy over here to my left. I'm talking to you, bro. Please do not say the Knicks, bro. Please, I'm begging you, bro.
The scariest team is the Bucks.
If they know how to play defense.
Yes.
Okay, but they don't. So they're not the scariest team. I mean, if you can't play defense.
I mean, I wouldn't say Boston's that good of a defense team either.
He's just trolling. I'm not even going to entertain that.
Listen. Okay, you're right. No. He's right.
They give up a lot of threes. They do give up a lot of threes.
No. You're right. Because anybody that's in the top 2 or 3 in defense efficiency in the NBA sucks and don't have a defense. So I agree with you. You have to be in the bottom 3 to be one of the best defense. Is that what you're saying now?
No.
So how can you say that?
They give up a lot of threes.
Okay. That's great that they give up threes, but at the end of the day, it's the overall defense. You're going to have defenses that are going to give up a lot of twos. They'll give up fouls, put them on the free throw line. They're going to give up threes.
You know who had the number 1 defense efficiency rating when they were all healthy?
Who?
The Knicks.
Bro.
It's only facts.
Don't.
It's only facts.
It's only facts. He's right.
Man.
It's only facts.
Man. Wow. With that great defense, while they were all not hurt, and yet the Celtics still have the best record in the NBA. So explain that one to me.
They're healthy.
No. That's not what I said. What I said was, if the Knicks, all healthy, because that's what you said. I didn't say it, you did. They had the number one defense efficiency in the league. And during that time, they still were not in first place.
They had the best record in the NBA after the All-Star break when everybody was healthy.
Bro, okay. In the last 7 games, the Mavericks are the best team in the league because they're on the same 7-game winning streak. That argument makes absolutely no sense to me. Seriously.
That's 7 games.
Right. And you're saying since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The Golden State Warriors on a 1-game winning streak, so they're the best NBA team right now since yesterday.
No.
Oh, exactly. That's my point.
He's saying you can't only focus on a month of playing. You got to look at the whole thing. You're
right.
Just focusing on that little bit of stretch.
I get that.
That's all he's saying.
Right. So again,
but to say that no one's scared of the Knicks, bro, is ridiculous.
No one is. Who?
As a Celtics fan, I'm not scared.
Me either. I'm not scared.
Well, I don't think anybody's scared of anybody, to be honest.
So then don't use that word.
Scared.
English.
All right. I'll make it easy for you. All right, to make you feel better. We're scared of the Knicks.
No one's scared of the Knicks.
All right, see, I just shake my hand.
Just like no one's scared of the Celtics.
Stop.
No one's scared of anybody.
No, listen, any team can get beat in a 7-game series.
I agree.
You're right. Any team can beat any team in a 7-game series or that play-in, which I wish they would I wish they would get rid of the play-in. Okay, that play-in to me is just giving 2 extra teams that couldn't hang during the season an opportunity to play in the playoffs. If you can't hack it during the regular season and be in the top 8,
then you shouldn't be
in the playoffs. Right. I don't really care who you are. I don't care if you're the Celtics. I don't care if you're the Lakers. I don't care if you're Golden State. I don't care if you're the Mavericks. I really don't care.
That is true.
And the previous point, what I think the last time we talked about is Zach said you could get a star back that was out for a very long time, and then they can get hot, like say Trae Young if he comes back. I think are the Hawks in the play-in?
The Hawks?
Yeah, they're the 10th seed right now, and they have a chance
they get Trae Young back, right?
I think it let's say they're 7 games out or whatever from the next seed or whatever, but they could have a chance and they would get Trae Young, and I don't think that's fair if they're 7 games worse than those 7 and 8 seeds.
Right.
They didn't do better than those other teams in the regular season, so now it's going to come down to 1 or 2 games depending on where you are. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, the Hawks right now are 5 games behind the 8th seed, which is the Sixers. So if they finish the season 5 games behind, should they still get a chance to have an opportunity to go to the playoffs?
What's the Hawks' record?
They're 5 games under 500.
Then no.
Okay, the Bulls are 4 games under 500.
I think it's ridiculous if you have a team that has a chance to make the playoffs under 500.
Because you're having it come down to 1 game, and all it takes is let's say Trae Young to return, or somebody on that team that's 5 games better. They roll their ankle or something, and they're out the rest of the game.
That changes everything.
At the end of the day, they're just doing it because they want to get more people in the stands, and I get that. But you're rewarding mediocrity.
Right.
You're rewarding a season that, for that season alone, you sucked.
Especially since 16 out of the 30 teams already make the playoffs.
Right. Exactly.
So why are you even
It just to me just doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. I wish the NBA would just get rid of it.
It's almost like a cash grab.
Well,
like a cash grab by the NBA.
Well, I mean
anything is kind of a
cash grab, So
but
that's just adding more teams into the playoffs.
Who wants to see a sub 500 team in a play-in to have a chance to get into the playoffs?
If it's your team,
that's understandable.
But look at this though. Even a couple years ago, the East. Some of the teams that was coming out of East in the playoff was under 500.
Yeah.
Even though it was as an 8 seed.
But that's an 8 seed. So they still got to the 8 seed.
Even some of the 6 seed them was under 500, but it's just because of where that
it's just where the
East was, right.
It's whether it's the East or the West.
Right.
Several years it'll be in the East, several years it'll be in the West.
Right.
And and if you're gonna do the top 8, no matter what record you fall in, it'll be the top 8.
It'll be the top
But now
8.
all of a sudden you want to squeeze in 2 more. Well, what's next? 2 more after 10, 12? Then what's the point of playing the season then?
Right.
All you're doing is just rewarding a team that really had a bad season.
But let's just put them all in.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they start this after the season was shortened? I think is when they added the plan, which I was
Right.
kind of fine with because the
Right.
season was
Was it?
shorted. But then they were like, let's just install it for the regular 82 game season. That's kind of why I didn't really agree with it because I'm pretty sure the season was 50 something games or something, so they allowed a playing game. That's when I was like, all right, I kind of get it to make up for those games
Right.
because you don't know how the rest of that season would play out. But now after 82 games, after a full season, there's no need to have some sort of playing game. Comes down to one game.
That's true.
I don't really like that.
Nah, same here. Same here.
Me too. I don't like that either.
You know,
But the Embiid situation now, do you think he's fully healthy, or do you think they rushed him? Or he rushed himself?
Well, I think it's kind of both. I think if the doctors say he's good to return, because even if there's a slight chance that it could get back on them, that they tried to throw some things to the side, they could lose their job for that. So if they say he's good, he's good. If he says he feels good, then that's also on him. So it's really, it comes down to what they say. If they say that they're both good, if he says he's good and the doctors say he's good, we can't really argue that,
at the end of the day, the doctors can say he's healthy, he can go play, but then Joel Embiid can turn around and simply just say, I get it, medically speaking, I'm okay, but I'm not feeling well, or I'm a bit sore.
That's actually what I think Kawhi did. It was either last year or 2 years. The doctors said he was good, but he didn't feel good to return.
I think that was the same scenario with San Antonio.
Yeah,
as well.
His
I
knee.
think something like that, yeah.
It was his knee, right?
So,
I don't remember what the injury was, but I know that the issue is that the doctors was telling the organization and cleared him, but he said he wasn't ready.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, the person themselves know if they know if they're ready. I don't foresee them. I understand they want to go and make the playoffs, right? And they want to make a
I
run.
think that's probably why they kind of rushing him to come back, so they kind of could make the playoff, because they're going to need him to make the playoff.
I 100% think he got rushed back. That, or he rushed himself
Or
back.
he rushed himself back just so his
It's
team can make
different.
I don't think it's necessarily rushed, because if the doctors clear him and he's clearly shouldn't have been cleared, they're gonna lose their job. They're probably gonna easily lose their job. They might get fined, or who knows the case.
Right.
So, similar to that it's not the same situation, but with Tyrod Taylor, the doctors kind of messed it up. So it's
Or Tua.
so there's a lot of stuff that could negatively affect those doctors if they clear somebody who shouldn't have been cleared. They get paid to make these decisions and to evaluate these players.
They basically have to take it out of the player's hands.
No.
No, they're doing their
That's
job.
what they're supposed to.
They're doing their
they're
job.
not. They can't take. In my opinion, I don't see how a doctor's going to take a player's opinion at that moment. The first thing what they're gonna do is they're gonna look at the X-rays. They're gonna look at the medical. They're gonna talk. They're gonna do examinations. They're gonna do all they can. But from a medical standpoint, they're gonna say, "Hey, look, we've done everything we can. He's healthy. He's good to go." And I'm sure that they're going to probably turn around and tell Embiid, "Hey, how do you feel?"
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
It's up to him.
it's up to him. Because look at the whole San Antonio Kawhi Leonard situation. Okay, the doctor says he's ready. The organizations rely on the doctor's information that he's ready, but he himself said, "I'm not ready. I don't feel like I can play. I'm still hurting." Whatever the reason he came up with, a person knows what their body is like and how they feel, whether a muscle, a ligament, or a bone. And ultimately, they make that decision whether they can be playing or not right after they're medically cleared.
I think Embiid too kind of knows when he can and can't play, especially since he's had all those injuries in his past. I feel like that kind of tells me he knows if he shouldn't play,
Yeah, I could see that. I just, it would stink if he did rush himself back, though,
Well,
for him and his career.
I mean, that's
That's his decision.
That's his decision.
I understand that.
You
It's
know.
just, it's like,
It's like a decision when Draymond Green was to still act like a fool, and he still thinks he's in high school.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, with that
And
guy,
Draymond Green's not that
how old
good.
is he? How old is he?
Good question.
Late
33?
30s, maybe early
33?
40s.
Probably like 33,
Yeah.
34.
And still thinks that getting into a fight, clotheslining, chokehold,
He wants to be the bully. That's
that's all it is. He's just all he is.
He's playing the bully role.
All he is a bully, and then you see he gets ejected, in I think what is it, less than 4 minutes of a game, and you can literally see Steph Curry
Crying.
upset.
Crying.
He's upset because he's upset.
Right.
They need him.
Yeah.
And instead he's more focused and worrying about why'd you make this call? Why'd you give me this take? Well, how about this?
Or why'd you say that?
Well, how about this? Shut up
And play the game.
and play the game. That's all you have to do. Okay, because you're not affecting yourself by getting kicked out. You're affecting your teammates by getting kicked out. Right. There is no other Draymond Green in the league the way he plays. No one can. The guy can rebound. The guy can play defense. He does all the little things that a lot of big men don't do. Now, he's not going to give you 20 points a game, but every now and then he'll give you double digits. But he doesn't do a lot of the things that other so-called big men, even though he isn't even a big man. What is he? 6'8", 6'9", something like that?
I think he's 6'6".
Oh, my.
6'6",
Oh,
yeah.
my.
7.
Look at that. Look at that.
He played big
Yeah,
man role.
he could play. He could play big. He plays
He
big,
guards the
but
bigs, though.
Yeah.
I
but,
mean,
but that's what I'm saying. He does things that other bigs typically don't do. He does take the hit. He does take the
He
screens.
does the dirty
He does
work,
take the.
yeah.
He basically does. Listen, this is this version. This is this era of Dennis Rodman, and that is a compliment.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He scores very little. He's not asked to score. Whatever he provides, it's a bonus for Golden State. He rebounds.
Right.
He assists. Probably a little bit more than Dennis Rodman. But one thing they have in common is they play solid D. Yeah. That's all Draymond has to do if he can act like a grown-up. But he doesn't. And that's part of the problem with him. And he's not going to learn. Right now, it's all about me and not about the team. That's all it is with Draymond Green. So, moving along, we actually were talking about a topic that we brought up about the college, coming up with a college Mount Rushmore of players. Okay. And obviously, Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents, so we're talking about 4 players. Now, these are my 4 players, okay? I'm going to call him what he was called at UCLA, Lou Alcindor, okay?
I remember that.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for those of you that don't know what his birth name was, okay? To me, the second one would be Pete Maravich. The third one would be Oscar Robertson. And the last one would be Larry Bird.
For college?
For college. In the 3 years at Indiana State, he averaged over 30 points and I believe 13 rebounds a game. Okay. Oscar Robertson, I believe, had won multiple personal individual awards. He also averaged over 30 points, and I believe he was also in double figures in rebounds. I believe he was actually close also to a triple-double.
I think that's the only man that averaged a triple-double in the NBA, right?
No, actually, Russell, how many times Russell
I
Westbrook
think he
did
did
it?
it
Twice.
3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I thought it was twice.
No,
Yeah,
he did it.
No, I'm talking about for the whole season.
Yes.
Yeah, for the whole season.
Yeah, for the whole season.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook did it 3 or 4.
I think he did it 2 or 3 times with the Thunder, and I know he did it with the Wizards.
Oh,
the year.
okay.
Yeah, so at least 3, maybe 4.
So that's my Mount Rushmore of college players. So
for me, how I went about my Mount Rushmore is more of in a March Madness sense. So that's kind of how I went about mine. So my first one I looked at Lou Alcindor, and the reason I didn't include him in mine is because back then they didn't have the 64 teams; they only had 16. So he was playing a couple games less, so that was why I left him off of that. But for my first one is Christian Laettner, who has the most career March Madness points. And to go with that, 2 national titles.
I watched that kid.
All right.
Yep.
So
I used to
then-
watch them games.
Game winner
then-
against Kentucky.
Yep.
And then my other 2 are people that I watched. So for the first one, it's Stephen Curry and what he did for Davidson. Looked at his stats, and I believe it was in the 5 or 6 games he scored at least 25 points, but then those other games he scored at least 30, and we know what he did when he was there. And then my other one was the Steph Curry before Steph Curry, Jimmer Fredette, and what he did for BYU.
Out of Glens Falls.
Before people were saying Curry, people were saying Jimmer when they were shooting. So, and then for my last one, I was stuck between Kemba Walker and Shabazz Napier, both UConn guards, right?
Yep.
I went with Napier because so he was on that team with Kemba Walker as a freshman. He didn't put up many numbers, right? But he was on that national title team, and then his senior year, he also won the championship that year, and he was their main player, and he scored in all but one game. He had at least 4 threes that senior year of March Madness to win the title, and was the most outstanding player for that season. So that's my Mount Rushmore: Shabazz Napier, Christian Laettner, Jimmer Fredette, and Stephen Curry.
My Mount Rushmore would be Carmelo Anthony, and I'm also basing off of March Madness as well. My first one would be Carmelo Anthony. He carried that Syracuse team to its only national title. Then it would also be Jason Tatum. Really good. He played really good for Duke in March Madness. To my knowledge, I'm not
They
really.
didn't win that year, right?
I don't believe so, but I'm not really into the college stats and stuff, so it's just basically off of what I like watching. Jimmer Fredette, just because that dude just shot the roof off, like insane. And I would probably have to go, since I did watch him, it would be Steph Curry and Davidson. That would be my 4.
Well, if I was doing a Rushmore of college basketball players, well, Carmelo would be one of them because I watched him make Syracuse win that championship that year. But for the trying to think of who that I can say, like, oh, you know who was good at that the year that they won? That was what was the big man for Kansas?
Oh, Danny Manning.
Danny Manning.
Back in, I believe it was 1988. The title game was against Oklahoma.
Yes,
It was against Oklahoma.
I'm gonna give Danny Manning one of the
And-
nods
and-
because he was a monster coming out of college.
Everybody wants to say, and rightly so, they want to say Carmelo Anthony carried that team.
Right.
Syracuse. So, I totally agree with you.
Right.
But practically nothing what Danny Manning did.
Right.
He
Right.
it was literally 5 against 1.
Right.
And he
I
single-handedly
remember
brought them out
that. I
there.
remember that. So I'm
Yes.
gonna give Danny Manning one of the nods. I'm trying to think of. There was a lot of players. Damn. There was. Ooh. Man. Also, but I can't say one player for the because that whole team was a monster team, was a UNLV running Rebels. I'm
Who's that? Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson,
Greg Anthony.
I
I forget his name, but his nickname was the Plastic Man.
yes,
Yes,
that
yes.
was a team that man.
Actually, that was the team, believe it or not, that was the team that actually lost to Duke, Bobby Hurley,
Right.
and Christian Laettner, because that was the year when supposedly, Duke was the prestigious elite.
Right.
That was a big controversial thing.
Right.
The smart players
Right.
playing against kids from the hood.
Right.
So everyone thought that Duke is gonna blow them out. Remember, and they had Grant Hill. They had Grant Hill.
That was the next one of my players, Grant Hill. I got to give it to that.
And of course,
That boy was a monster, yo.
Yeah, but UNLV, I believe, ended up winning. I want to say
they won the title.
I know. I want to say they won by 30.
Yes.
I believe they won by 30 that year.
They blew. Nobody didn't see that coming.
Nobody, because everybody had Duke and,
Yep.
and their algorithms
Right.
and the ECMC square.
Right.
And pi, and coming out of Duke and everything, So they all had their Rhodes Scholars and their PhDs, and then instead we have a bunch of
Roughneck.
Hood, Boogie Down or Compton or what's going on? Oh, okay.
That was a monster team.
No,
too.
that was a monster team though.
That was a monster team.
So I was looking at some players from Mount Rushmore, and I want to give an honorable mention to Richard Hamilton. I was looking at his stats
UConn.
and his 8 games, right? So we did 3 in his first year, and then he played, I believe it was like 5 in his second. In his 8 games, he scored at least 20 points in every single game, and then he won the national title in his second year.
I remember winning. What was the other one from UConn? It was a pass corner hit it. I think it was Tate George, if I remember, from UConn.
Some
Yeah, you brought up some
OGs.
names.
From
Yeah.
UConn. I believe he had the game-winning shot in the national title, or one of the shots before the game ended to actually win the title. So UConn is actually getting a lot of love up in here, to be honest with you, and deservedly so, though.
Yeah, they had some teams. UConn always had a team, though.
Well, what I like about UConn, they're the only. I've said this before. They're the only team so far that every time they make the Final Four, they win the national.
This year,
And they're in it this year, and they. Why do I have a feeling they're gonna make it look so easy? Seriously, I mean, it's not even funny. I mean, it's like watching. I'm gonna say it right. It's like watching the Celtics play the Knicks.
Oh,
I mean, I had to say it. I had to.
Why you have to bring up
Dude,
Bucks,
I had
bro?
to.
The
I had
Celtics,
to.
man.
I had
Bucks,
to.
bro.
I had to, bro. I had to. You know what? Because he made me do it. Okay, he made me do it. He started with the whole Knicks thing, and I just had to put him.
Crazy.
I just had to put him in his place. That's all. You know how?
Catching strays.
Hey, listen. You don't want to catch. You don't want to catch strays, bro. Then you know what not to say. All right. And if it's not the Knicks, it's the Knickerbockers.
Go New
And
York, go New York, go.
Yeah, I know they are. They're gonna go soon. Listen, so with that being said, for me, one of the favorite things is just watching Cinderella runs.
Right.
And I know that right now, I don't think anybody is calling North Carolina State this year a Cinderella team. I just can't do that, especially when you're coming out of the ACC. They're the 11th seed, and they won the ACC tournament. But the fact that they're coming out of the ACC, I can't just call them a Cinderella team. I mean, if you really want to talk about Cinderella teams, there have been some Cinderella stories, actually. And it's ironic because one of the Cinderella stories was back in 1983, NC State. I don't know if you remember, when they actually won the whole thing against Five Slamma Jamma, against Houston.
Cougars.
Yeah, against Houston. They had Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh.
They had Clyde Drexler. Okay, that's who they had in Houston. And along the way, they also beat Virginia, who had Ralph Sampson. Okay, so now that's a true Cinderella team. Now I still remember when Villanova won it in '85.
I remember
That was another Cinderella team. They ended up beating Georgetown. They had no shot
with Patrick Ewing.
with
I
Patrick
remember
Ewing and the boys, and they ended up winning the whole thing with see who the coach was at the time.
that. What's the name? Georgetown coach.
No,
okay.
oh gosh, I forget the guy's coach. He ended up actually going to
Hall of Fame.
but he ended up going to Cleveland State after that. I'll figure out his name. The other one, actually, it's funny that we just talked about that earlier. You mentioned one of the Mount Rushmores, 1988.
Right.
It was actually Kansas, because actually Kansas that year, they were actually the 11th seed that year.
Yes.
They were the 11th seed, and they had no shot. I mean, they had no
shot,
chance.
Yo. Daddy Manning, yo.
Nah, but my favorite one, though, my favorite one has to be one of Loyola Marymount back in 1990
okay,
with
okay,
Hank
okay.
Gathers.
Yeah.
And that was people forget, that was the year where their head coach, right after he finished, he actually had coached the Lakers. He got hired by Loyola Marymount. He basically just told the team, run.
Right.
Just run. I mean, they ended up beating Michigan that year in the second round, and the score was 149-115.
Yep.
Okay, and that's all they did. It was just, I mean, and that was the year the hand gathers. I think it was during practice, right?
Yeah.
Was it during practice?
Yeah.
He caught a heart attack and actually died on the court. And then Bo Kimball, his teammate and best friend, after he passed away, every time he would go on the free throw line, the first shot that he would do would always be left-handed.
Right.
His hand gathers was actually left-handed.
Right.
So that was one of the Cinderella things.
So hold on, can I say this? So going back to your NC State comment about them this year, I'm gonna have to completely disagree with you, because to end the regular season, they lost 7 out of their last 9 games
And 5 straight.
and they went into the ACC tournament knowing that the only way they make the tournament is if they win the whole thing.
And
They go on and win 5 games in 5 days, and now here they are in the Final Four. I'm going to have to completely disagree with you. They're the first team with 14-plus losses to make the Final Four. They lost 7 out of their last 9 games, going into the ACC tournament, having no momentum into that, and taking it from all those teams. So
Good teams.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. Beating Duke, Virginia, and North Carolina in the ACC tournament game, and then just seeing what they've done in this tournament.
Well, I mean,
got a point.
it's hard to not make that into a valuable, because it is. It's just that for me, it's just hard to call a team from the ACC a Cinderella team. That's all, because they're arguably the best conference when it comes to basketball. Set aside SEC for now. To me, the ACC is the best. So that's why. But with those numbers and those stats, yeah, I can see why they would be called the Cinderella team.
So where did you
Absolutely.
have them going in your bracket?
That's irrelevant.
I'm just wondering.
I had them, I think, losing in the second round. Man,
Okay.
you're gonna
No. I was just wondering.
you're gonna ride that
I'm
bracket.
just wondering. I'm just wondering, because I had them winning it all. So
Oh, you had them winning it all?
In which bracket?
my
Your-
underdog
your-
bracket.
Right. Your secondary, your third or fourth or fifth, not your main bracket.
We
So,
made,
if this
we
doesn't
made-
work out.
We made 2 brackets. That was the rules.
There was no rules. I only made one.
That's on you.
I only made one. There was no rules. I only made one.
So for one of my favorite Cinderella stories, I'd have to include the 2011 VCU team. They became the first ever team to make it to the Final Four, being in a play-in game.
The first year of the play-in, by the way.
First year of it. And the only team to do that since, I believe, was UCLA like 4 or 5 years ago.
And they
So
they
that's
did
all.
make the Final Four that year, I
And
believe.
that,
Yep.
those are the only 2 that played in the play-in, but VCU in the first year they did it, that they implemented it, they went to the Final Four.
Now I got a Cinderella team as well. St. Peter's in 2022. To
Yes.
the number 15 seed to the Elite 8.
First ever.
They're the first ever number 15 seed to make it to the Elite 8. And it's not only just making it to the Elite 8, it's the people they beat.
On the way to the lead. Okay.
They beat the number 2 seed, the number 7 seed, and the number 3 seed to make it to the Elite 8.
Ooh.
Now that's a Cinderella story right there. Especially when the
And it's the teams, too. They beat Kentucky, Purdue, and Murray State. They each had 26 wins.
and from what I heard that year, though, the coach's office, I believe, looked smaller than a janitor's closet with plumbing leaks and all.
Jeez.
That's what I was told. But
let's give credit to the team that started these type of runs at a 15 seed, being the 2013 Florida Gulf Coast team.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Where they made it to the Sweet 16, the first ever 15 seed to make it to the Sweet 16. And they started that off by beating Georgetown with NBA prospect at the time, Otto Porter Jr.
and then they beat San Diego State in the second round. Right. So, and what was their nickname, which I believe they copyrighted or trademarked?
Dunk City.
And then after that year, I believe the head coach went to USC, stayed there for 11 years, and believe it or not, he actually tried to take that moniker with him He tried to take that Dunk City label with him. So Florida Gulf Coast said, "Yeah, I don't think so. It belongs to us now legally."
Right.
And then now the same coach at USC for 11 years, who basically did nothing, just got hired as the head coach for SMU. So I love how you.
Wait, for Michigan State?
No.
For
The head
Mississippi
coach,
State?
no,
SMU.
Oh,
Southern.
SMU. Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Southern
Southern
Methodist.
okay.
It could also be Southern Mississippi because
Right.
that's another SMU. So I love to know what it's like to have 11 years of mediocre years and still get hired for another job.
That's called the coaching carousel.
It's called lack
it's-
of coaches.
That's what it is. It's called the coaching carousel.
Yeah. The other one was, if I remember correctly, in 2018, Loyola Chicago.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. They actually made it as an 11th seed, and I believe they ended up going just only to the Sweet 16 or making the Elite 8. I don't recall in here.
I thought they were an 8 or 9 seed.
No.
I could be
No,
wrong.
yeah,
I
no,
could be wrong.
11 seed. 11
I
seed.
think they made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I think that was the following year they were 8 or 9.
No,
So-
no,
the
actually,
I'm talking.
they beat Miami, they beat Tennessee, and they beat Nevada, but then they lost and Kansas State before falling to Michigan. Actually, they made the Final Four that year.
Yeah, no, I made a mistake. I'm thinking the following year is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I think they made the 8 or 9. I'm talking about the following season. That's
Oh,
what I meant.
they made it to the Final Four.
They made it to, as an 11th seed, Loyola Chicago, and they, like I said, they beat Miami, Tennessee, Nevada, Kansas State, and then obviously falling to
Right.
Michigan in the
Right.
Final Four. So, I mean, those are the most famous Cinderellas, though. That these two went no, obviously, unless you research it. But the most Cinderella team before becoming a powerhouse, remember Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Every single year they would actually be a Cinderella team, and well, what is it? 20?
They never got over the. Did they ever get over the hump?
They never. I don't think they. Did
Not
they?
as far as winning at all. No.
Not as far as winning it
No.
all, right?
I think what is the consecutive amount of years that they made the Sweet 16 now? Isn't it like 20 in the 20s now?
It's up there.
Yeah,
It's up there.
Just making it like I think it was like 25 years in a 25 straight years they made the Sweet 16.
Right.
That's insane. That is insane. But the other one, some people may say, was it Lehigh
Lehigh.
with McCollum?
Yeah, CJ McCollum for Lehigh. They upset Duke in the first round.
Is that all they did?
No, they went pretty far. Didn't they?
I'm pretty sure they only beat them because they were like a 14 seed.
Yeah.
So like,
But I know that's like their main thing was upsetting Duke.
Yeah.
You beat Duke. Yeah, you're
that
a
counts
Cinderella
as a
team.
Cinderella story. I mean, it's just one game.
Well, yeah. When you make the tournament and you actually win one, especially when you're either a 14th or a 15th seed and you beat a 2 or 3 seed, you're gonna be labeled the Cinderella team. Not necessarily may not get past the second round, but if you get past the first round, I mean, you're a really high seed and you beat a really good seed like a 1 or a 2. Yeah, you're gonna be called.
Who was
the
on
Cinderella
that
team.
Duke team?
I mean, I could look it up if you
We
really
look it up,
wanna
but I
know.
can't even remember. All I know is that
I think
those
Austin
Duke players.
Rivers might have been one of them.
I don't think those Duke players want to remember that year.
No.
That's
But,
just my opinion.
Another run is
Thankfully, we're not the Duke players.
back-to-back trips by Butler,
Butler.
where they had that
Yeah.
half-court
Butler,
shot just
yup.
miss.
Butler was our next good team that was dangerous. Like
Making
people sleep on them until they shoot your eyes out. Until them boys shoot your eyes out.
Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward.
Yeah. And then we give him that, and then the Celtics give him that 4-year contract,
Oh,
and,
man.
and then he goes to the Hornets for another 4-year contract, almost the same contract. And I'm like, bro, you need that Butler jersey to be put on again so you can shoot and stay healthy. For 8 years, he collected over $200 million and did nothing.
Sounds like
Did
Kirk
nothing.
Cousins.
Did nothing. He did nothing.
He sounds like Kirk Cousins and Daniel Jones.
I think Kirk Cousins at least put up numbers. He just can't win in the postseason. That's his problem. All right.
So on that Duke team for you, they had the Plumlee twins, Austin Rivers, Seth Curry, and Quinn Cook.
Okay, so no bums.
And they lost to CJ McCollum, who put up 30 on them.
Shit.
They
now-
couldn't stop that man, yo. That man was going off.
And now he's doing it in the NBA with the Pelicans.
Like,
He's doing it in the NBA.
Exactly.
Another little Cinderella story was 2012, 2013 Wichita State.
Wichita.
But Wichita.
They were the 9th seed, and they made it to the Final Four that year.
Yep, they sure did.
And it's weird because in one of the years, I don't know if it was before or after, they were the number 1 seed.
What's the guard for Toronto?
He's now with the Rockets.
He's
Fred
now with
VanVleet.
He was on Wichita,
He was
right?
on that
Yep.
team.
Yep.
He was on that team. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they had like a little class, a few players that
Right.
were NBA prospects.
Right,
But Van Vliet's really the only one that panned out. But yeah, they had a stretch with that team where they were like they made the Final Four, and then I think the next few years after that, I believe
Yeah,
they were
up
one
there.
seed.
Yeah,
and-
they was up there.
Yeah.
It was up there.
And then that's all she wrote. After
That's all
that.
she wrote
Once
after
those
that.
guys left, that's all she wrote. That's it. But that's our Cinderella stories in regards to those teams, though. But moving right along, though, I know that now everyone is still talking about the draft, and we're referring to the NFL. And yesterday, I forget what game. I think Caleb Williams was at the USC game. And I'm not judging, but
He was in Albany.
No, the USC game. They were in Portland.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, they were in the Portland region against UConn, and I believe that's where he was. And obviously, everybody all was talking about was his pink phone, pink nails, and lip gloss. I'm not really sure why, but I guess to each his own. And I guess we can jump right into that.
I think this kid is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's doing too much.
Listen,
At his age right now, for his age, and first of all right, you won the Heisman in college. I get it. Okay, you a superstar. But for you, what makes me would like him is if he had came back and did a back-to-back Heisman, win a back-to-back Heisman. I would consider him up there. But for me watching him play this year and seeing how there was nothing special about him, from me watching him, it was nothing special about him.
He does have really good arm talent.
listen. The thing with Caleb Williams,
I really
is
think
this.
that's it.
Listen, the thing with Caleb Williams is this: the man put up numbers. Everybody has to understand that. Okay, the guy's gonna be presumably the number 1 draft pick. I personally would not make him the number 1 draft pick. I will let you know who. But the thing with Caleb Williams is that in his defense, the guy had even when he was with Oklahoma that 1 year and he put up fantastic numbers, no defense. Then he goes for 2 years to USC, put up huge numbers. Again, no defense. When your defense is allowing 30, 40, 50 points a game consistently, he has to throw the ball. You can't even run.
Right.
So everything was put on his shoulders. And I believe last year they went, 7-5 or something like that, 8-5. I'm not sure. But again, those wins was because of him. So the way I look at it is the guy can scramble, he can run, he can throw dimes.
Right.
It's just if you get him in the right situation. The Bears, they went out and got Keenan Allen, they got DJ Moore. I believe they signed Swift, as well. So they have these veterans and established players that can help them along. My issue with Caleb Williams is more than anything else, it's his mental. Yeah. It's mental. And again, I'm not there. I'm listening to everybody. Everybody's talking about his dad and how he's asking for part ownership. Not going to happen. And so when you put a target on your son that way, they're coming for you.
Yep.
They're going to come for you. For me, I'm not going to take Caleb Williams number 1. For me, I'm going to take Jaden Daniels out of LSU. That's who I would make my number 1 pick.
If I was taking a number 1, I'm going with that kid from Ohio State. He's a franchise difference maker who's gonna make your team better as soon as he touches the field.
Ohio State.
Yes.
Yeah, Harrison he's talking about.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
The thing with that though is if you're gonna draft him, it can't
now.
be the Bears.
No.
Because
right.
to draft him, you already need an established quarterback,
Which they had.
The first 3 teams is not going to do that. They all three teams, the Bears, Commanders, and the Patriots, they all need a quarterback. Now, unless something dramatic happens, and they can BS me to the day I die, those 3 teams are taking a quarterback. I personally don't see how they don't. Right. They're going to need to take a quarterback. The 4th team, Arizona Cardinals, they got Kyle Murray. They're going to take, if he's still there, they're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Or trade out.
Who?
I
Arizona.
don't think you trade him.
Why,
They can.
but for what though?
I don't know.
Okay, but you keep saying they
For
can't.
extra
And-
draft
not
capital.
doing it.
They're not going to, no. Obviously.
Right.
They're not doing
To me, that's not even an option to even discuss. They're not going to. If you're the 4th pick, you've got Kyle Murray. You're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. You trade away from that, and you're the general manager.
You need to be fired.
You need to be fired. However, and the owner who has the final say.
Right.
It's like we could all blame the GM.
Right.
But the owner has to put that stamp of approval. Should sell the team.
Right. Yep.
End of story.
Now,
That's just me.
And then after them, you have the Chargers. Now, the Chargers are an interesting team. Okay.
That's my coach.
I feel like the Chargers, with the coach they got now, it's either lineman or Brock Bowers, the tight end.
I know it's a lineman. I know
Now-
Harbaugh. Harbaugh is gonna go protect his quarterback at all costs.
But he also runs a lot. So now what I'm also thinking is you have Minnesota down there, okay, with 2 first-round picks. Would the Chargers be willing to move with Minnesota, take those two first-round picks, and give Minnesota that first-round pick to move down?
If you're the San Diego Chargers, yes. If you're the Vikings, they're morons.
Right.
And the reason they're hold on a second. And the reason they're morons,
I'm just-
and I'm explaining to you. You have 2 first-round picks.
Yes.
Let's say you trade and you get the 5th spot. You're telling me, and obviously Minnesota needs a quarterback. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that Minnesota would be foolish enough to trade 2 first-round picks
for the number 5
to take a quarterback when those quarterback remaining, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., more than likely, and I anticipate, are either going to be in the bottom of the first round or top mid second round.
Yeah.
The only reason I see Minnesota doing that is because they believe the Giants are taking J.J. McCarthy.
We're not getting into this, okay? We're not.
We are.
Let me say something. Hold on.
We are.
The only reason they should trade those 2 picks is if they can either grab Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels. You're not going to trade up to try and take J.J. McCarthy. No. What you should do is try and just wait and let one of those 3 quarterbacks fall to you, because either one of those 3 is just as likely to just be the better quarterback. Like, they all have the same chance of being your future quarterback. So that's what you should live with. Okay, I'm not gonna. The Giants. I'm scared. Let me make a move because they might take. No, I don't care.
It makes more sense, like you said. It makes more sense to take your 2 first-round picks, trade them for either the first. If I'm trading 2 picks, I want the number 1 pick.
Right.
I don't want the second or the third.
Well, that number 1 pick's not going to get traded.
Or at the very least, the top 3.
Right.
At least.
But I'm definitely going to go for the first one. I'm not going to trade by 2 first-round picks. And I mean, no
For
disrespect.
J.J. McCarthy? Come on.
If they like him, bro.
I like the kid.
If they like him
I like the kid.
and they want to take that risk, they got to get their guy.
Dude.
Here's the thing with me, though, is like you got to think like your team. So with that 11th pick, you can take a skill player, you can take an offense or defensive lineman, and then when one of those 3, because one of them will fall to you,
they're gonna
to the
fall.
23,
What happens if they do not?
Then
They're
Dude,
gonna fall.
you have to look at the draft order. Okay, that's what you need to do. You have to look at the draft order and see the teams that are available.
I need a QB.
Okay, and that needs a QB. Okay, That's
And
all I'm
pretty
saying.
sure Knicks and Penix
I
are both
swear,
projected second rounders right now. Like one of those three will fall to you at the 23rd pick, I believe.
You got the Bears. You have the Commanders. You have blank Patriots.
The top three, okay.
Yep, the top three are QBs. They are not trading out of the top three.
We know that. We're not making that distinction there. We already know that the top three are going to take 3 quarterbacks. Number 4 is Arizona, Murray Thompson Jr.
That's
Number 5, San Diego State.
That's a wild card.
That's not the wild card. They're taking Joe Alt out of
Yeah,
Notre Dame left tackle.
I would believe that.
That's what they're going to take.
Yep.
The Giants are not taking a quarterback. Move on. Number 7, Tennessee Titans. They got Will Levis. They're not drafting a quarterback. Number 8, they have Atlanta Falcons, number 8, overpaid for Kirk Cousins. They're not getting a quarterback. Number 9, the Bears again. They're going to take a wide receiver, whoever the best wide receiver that's available in their opinion. The guy from LSU Neighbors or Zuma from Washington. Pick your poison. Either way, they're going to lock out. Number 10, they got Aaron Rodgers. Okay, they're not taking a quarterback.
Okay,
number
I see that. And then it's the Vikings.
Number
right?
11 is the Vikings.
Okay.
The Vikings are not going to give away their 2 first picks to move up for JJ McCarthy. Now, if the Giants take JJ McCarthy, they need to move out of New York. That's number 1. Okay, that's just
They
my
should
opinion.
move out of New York anyways. They have Daniel
I'm sorry.
Jones.
Let me rephrase that. That's not a New York team. They're in New Jersey. Anyway, geographically speaking, of course.
Same thing with the Jets.
Same thing with the Jets. But we're talking about the Giants. Don't worry about the Jets. The Jets are a Division 3 team. So, all right. So now
The Giants are high school team.
So now they're gonna take in number 11. They'll take a quarterback. Now you got the Broncos and the Raiders. The Raiders signed Minshew as a backup, but more than likely it's possible they may take a quarterback. I don't see it. Number 12, the Broncos. I believe they're taking a quarterback. I really believe they're taking a quarterback.
So whoever falls to them, they're
So,
gonna grab.
right. So the next 3 is JJ McCarthy. With the likelihood they're taking a quarterback, they like JJ McCarthy. That's fine. Then you have now the Broncos. You got Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. Those are the 2 that are left. They're taking one of those 2. And if you move it along, you got the Saints that have Derek Carr. Sorry, Saints. Okay. Not exactly. They got the Colts. They got Richardson, who they got in the third pick overall last year. He's not going anywhere. Boom. Seattle next. All right. And I'm praying that I'm praying that they either take Bo Nix or Penix, whoever is available. Just take your chances.
I don't think they are anymore after trading
But
for
wait,
Sam Howell.
yeah, if you train for Sam Howell, why would you draft?
They're not taking QB.
Why would you?
I mean,
draft a
I'm
quarterback?
still not against it, but
I
just
personally
see it,
don't
though.
think they're going to do it because they traded for Sam Howell. He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get that, but I would like for them if Bo Nix or Penix Jr. is available,
just to grab him.
just grab them. Remember, they're all about competition. Grab them. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna happen. Minnesota Viking, unless you're trading up to be the top 3, that is man. I'm gonna sell you snake oil, bro. Snake oil. You know what that is? I'm gonna sell you something that's not gonna happen, or it's not gonna work out. All right, that's all I'm saying. All right. Anything else you want to add? I'm talking about this one over here.
Oh,
Anything else you want to add? That's not Giants related.
I wake up, look at the Giants. I go to sleep, I look at the Giants.
Bro, I asked you if you have anything to say. I didn't want you to tell me your nightmares.
So listen,
I didn't want you to tell me your nightmares, bro.
the
Seriously.
Giants are going to take a QB at 6, or they are taking a wide receiver at 6. It's
Man.
one of the 2. I would lean 65% wide receiver, the other percent to the QB. That is what's going to happen. Lock it. I'll sign it. I'll do whatever. Once they do that, and if they take a QB, I want an apology.
Bro, an apology for what?
Because I'm right.
An apology for what,
Because I'm right.
bro?
Because I'm right.
If you're right now, tell me what the Mara family has been telling you in the past several months, bro, because you must be in communication with them. You tell me. You can't simply
haven't
say you
talked to
know.
them.
Seriously.
I mean,
Listen.
just-
The
if they take a quarterback,
the reason
I just want to hear I'm right.
The reason you want them to take a quarterback, bro, is because you're embarrassed that they paid a 15 touchdown passer $160 million for 4 years. You're embarrassed. Just cop to it.
He's a bum.
You
Daniel Jones is a bum.
I didn't ask you if he's a bum. He's not a. First of all, he's not a bum.
He's a bum.
Okay, but I'm not asking if he's a bum. You're embarrassed. You're embarrassed.
I'm not embarrassed.
You are embarrassed.
I'm not embarrassed.
You're calling the guy a bum.
Why should I be embarrassed? I don't play for the Giants.
You're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
You're a fan.
I'm a fan, but I'm used to it.
Man.
Just like the Cowboys should be used to disappointment.
Well, I'm not used to it.
He's not used to it. Trust me. The Giants.
I've seen 2 Super Bowls.
Listen, I'm
3.
talking about the Giants are usually not this bad historically.
I agree.
Okay, historically, you just happen to be catching them making bad decisions.
Yes.
That's where you are,
And I can't deny that.
and I understand you're embarrassed.
I think
I'm
coach,
not embarrassed,
I think DeBarco is a good coach. I think he's gonna bring us back to the playoff. Now I don't know where they go when they make the playoff.
If
I
they don't
think that
draft the
coach-
quarterback, he's not lasting after this year.
man, I like DJ.
I'm
not
gonna
even
be
gonna lie.
honest. If they don't draft the quarterback and they fail again,
So
who
then-
are you
so-
drafting next year,
So then,
man?
if they take a quarterback and they
Right.
don't make the playoffs again, is he fired?
No,
But they would have
because
the
you got to
same result
develop
either
that
way.
quarterback.
But how do you know he's going to even pan out? What if he doesn't pan out?
Then they're fired. What I am saying is,
You'd rather take
what is a better option next year? What option is there next
He
year?
brought you to the playoffs, so you draft and sign players to build around your $160 million quarterback.
I said the same thing.
Okay,
To protect
he
him.
literally carried you to the playoffs and won you a
Carried
game.
what,
Yeah.
bro? 15 touchdowns, dude.
But
Do
but
you want-
15 touchdowns.
but
And
this-
how many did he rush for?
But this guy
Who
was running for
cares?
his
How many did he
life.
rush for? How many
Who
yards did he rush
cares?
for? He literally was.
Who
He was
cares?
running
One
from.
of-
Is
for
he
his
Jalen
life.
Hurts? Is he Jalen Hurts?
It don't matter.
Then we can't talk
What
about
the-
rushing
Zach,
touchdowns,
Zach, repeat
bro.
what I said.
How many rushing
No,
touchdowns?
well,
did he
no,
get?
what I said.
He brought you to the playoffs.
He brought you to the playoffs and he won you a playoff game. That's all you need
Against
to know.
Kirk Cousins.
That's all you need to know.
It don't matter.
Okay.
Wasn't that his
He's
play-
clearly
wa-
won
wasn't-
you
wasn't
games.
that his first playoff
so
appearance?
Build
Yeah.
around him.
That was
So
his
build
first
around
playoff
him.
appearance, and yet we wanted to give him 148 million.
That's
not
your
my fault.
fault.
That sounds like
So,
a you
so
problem.
instead of just getting rid of the guy, you need to build around the team. Instead of bringing a
That's
quarterback
what I
in who's
said.
going to have to deal with the same
They
thing
tried.
Daniel Jones is going to
No, they haven't.
The dude's
It's been 1
the
year
guy-
since they made the
guy is-
playoffs. What do you mean
the
try?
guy is one
and
hit.
he was hurt.
He's also one hit away from another neck injury and ending
Because
his
y'all
career.
don't want to.
You don't protect
y'all
the
don't wanna
guy.
Bring in coaching and players that can work together to protect this guy.
This guy, they don't have a line. I can't believe I'm about to defend the Giants on this. They don't have a line.
Did you watch
I know
the
this.
games?
You-
Did you
yes,
not
I watched
see your
every,
quarterback
Yes,
out?
I watched every single game the past
It don't seem like
6
it.
years
It don't
of
seem
watching
like it.
Daniel
'Cause All you
Jones.
have to know is he made the playoffs, won you a playoff game, and was out last year. And you're like, we need to get rid of the guy. No, you need to build around him. He is actually with nobody around him other than Saquon Barkley. helped you get to the
Now
playoffs.
what happens if the Giants go 4 and whatever?
They're going to.
Okay.
But you can't
Whose
just
fault is
bring,
that?
You can't just bring in
The
a
organization. That's not Jones's fault.
That's also Jones's
no,
fault.
listen. What do
He
you always
carried a
you-
worse team to the playoffs.
Listen. Here's the deal.
And you're not giving him any credit for it.
And you're not exactly
Because
You-
the contract.
You're not giving it.
But that's not his fault that he got the contract. That's
You
the
can't blame
organization's
him. That's
fault.
on the organization.
Right.
Y'all agreed to give him the bag. Why would he not take that?
You telling me?
Now
Listen.
you got to deal
wait.
with the consequences
Hey,
of it.
I throw 8 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. You want to give me $160 million?
Of course.
What do I sign?
Right.
Come on. You can't put that on Danny Jones. You can't protect the guy. It's the same thing with Sam Howell. You're saying he's trash. He got sacked the most this year in the NFL. Why?
I would say
There's
Sam
no-
Howell's better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but you called him trash at 23.
Of course.
How can you call somebody at 23 trash when you have 2 quarterbacks that have no line? They are literally running
Yeah, I
for
agree
their
with that.
life.
I would agree with that.
Right. They're running for their life. So you cannot put that on the quarterback. If you don't protect your quarterback cannot do anything. They have a fairly decent defense.
Every successful team
Has
last
a-
season
Yes.
had an O-line.
Yes.
Their
I get
quarterbacks
that.
were blocked.
Yes.
I get that.
You guys couldn't block
I get
and
that.
protect your quarterback.
I get that.
So let's just bring in a quarterback who's going to have to deal with the same exact
line.
situation.
I get that.
Deal with the
Same line.
same line, and then you're going to say, we're trash. Why did
So
we draft
That's,
this guy?
that's why
So
Giants
listen,
need to
so-
drop.
When you could have drafted a wide receiver,
Yeah.
some more O-linemen. No, let's
So-
bring in a quarterback that's got to deal with this same thing.
So-
it doesn't make sense.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Seattle's defense was as far as I'm concerned, was pretty bad last year.
Right.
Okay. Now the offensive line of the Giants is. We went to the game.
10 sacks. Bro.
Okay. 11.
11, yeah, my bad.
We had 11 sacks against the Giants, and we still had a below average defense.
I wouldn't be surprised if we barely scratched 11 the rest of the year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. That tells you how bad that offensive line is. I'd be surprised if we reach double-digit sacks.
Yeah, but
the rest of the year.
You keep blaming Daniel. I'm not saying that he's not to blame for something.
I just want to move on from the guy, man. It's been 6
You gotta give the guy a chance,
years.
so you gotta
And
give him a chance.
he brought you to the playoffs 2 years ago.
Two neck injuries, bro.
Protect him. Then protect him.
Protect him.
Protect him.
Protect him.
If listen,
Simple as
I'm gonna
that.
make it real easy for you.
Listen,
If the
you
Chargers
can't take alignment. The Giants can't take alignment at 6.
Why?
It's a right
Why?
tackle.
Why?
It's a left tackle. We already have a left tackle, Andrew Thomas.
you move him.
Move who?
Move somebody.
Move somebody.
You draft
You're not
somebody.
moving Andrew
Wait, wait,
Thomas.
You signed some coaching
You're-
staff.
Hold on a second. You're saying you have Andrew Thomas, and yet you still have the worst line. So how good is he really?
All pro.
One guy. He was
Andrew Thomas.
He was all
left
pro
tackle.
last year. He was all pro
hurt.
last year.
Move one
He
of
was
them to
hurt.
right tackle, man.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna tell
Okay,
you.
so get him another lineman.
But
or
we
get him a
tried that.
receiver.
We tried moving Evan Neal to right tackle when he got drafted as a left tackle, and
Yeah,
it panned it out. Like, we also had a horrible offensive line coach though. So
Yeah, but again, that's their fault.
And that's
I
the
agree. I
issue
agree.
that you have to build on, not just bring in
But
a
then-
quarterback that has to deal with the same
But then
thing.
what's the excuse if we fail this year again? Is it the same excuse?
Wait, so you're saying if the line doesn't work again? You're saying?
I'm saying if this year's a failure again for the
y'all
Giants.
have a solid
We
defense.
got to see.
If
I know
y'all
the defense
We got to
is
see
if
what
you
we
guys-
fail at, though.
If you
I
guys
agree.
actually can protect Daniel Jones just a little bit more,
A little
you
bit.
guys will be borderline playoff contenders. Borderline. And I think that's a win. I think if you guys are in the same situation with Seattle, you guys have a better defense, but we have the better offense. I think we are both playoff contenders. If you are around that, I think that is a successful season. If you guys suck and you go 4 wins, well, y'all got a lot to figure out. Just like Seattle, if we get 4 wins, we got a lot to figure out.
You got to look at the QBs that are going to be in this NFC East. All right, you got Jalen Hurts has a line. Okay. You got Dak Prescott has a line.
Yeah.
You're gonna have. I'm assuming if Commanders don't take him, they're dumb. It's gonna be Jaden Daniels at 2. They don't have a line.
What's the argument though? Like Seattle has to deal with really good
That's
teams
Seattle.
In their
I'm
division,
talking
too.
about.
Yeah, but
the
you're talking
Giants
about
NFC
the
East right
teams in the division.
I'm talking about the
That's-
NFC
that
East right
doesn't-
now.
That doesn't mean
I'm
anything.
talking about the NFC East right
That
now.
doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it does.
You're trying to find a way to like, oh, well, the Giants have to go through this and da-da-da. It's like every team has to go through teams in their division. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to get at. Y'all have to go through teams just like we have to go through teams. Let's talk about the AFC North. They have a tougher division they got to go through.
Am I an alien, bro?
What does this have to do with anything? Everybody has to play people.
Where do you see playoffs in the Giants, dude?
We don't.
We don't.
Okay,
You can't see
But
playoffs
you
with no
don't
team
reset.
until the.
so reset.
Right, but you're missing the point. You keep saying reset. Okay, but you still want to start with the quarterback. You get a new quarterback, you're still going to have the same issue. If you cannot protect your quarterback, you could put Tom Brady back there. He's not going to succeed. And he can't even run.
It's too early to say they can't protect the court.
What do you mean it's too early? They've been doing it for years.
I'm talking about this season coming up. They signed 3 really good or above average.
And if they don't pan out, who are you going to blame that on?
It's the line.
Right, but why do you keep blaming Daniel Jones then? You keep saying the
It's
line.
just what I see from Daniel Jones. He doesn't progress.
I see him on his back.
I see it on his back,
yeah,
bro.
true. I
That's
see
what
him on his back too.
That's what I see.
Right. So what we're saying is, you keep saying,
And I'm cursing the TV, saying, "Protect this man, dumb."
At the end of the day, not drafting a lineman from 2014 to 2020 is a big issue.
Yes,
but you keep making our argument. That's the thing we're trying to
You say
understand.
that,
I
but
get
then
it,
you're
I get
like,
it.
bring in a quarterback.
I get it.
Like, I'm just saying, build
I get
around
it.
him. Then I agree with you. If you're a couple years into this contract and you improve the line a little bit and Daniel Jones still sucks, well, look. But now look. Now you have a team.
Now you have a line.
And you can bring in a quarterback
To
that works
flourish.
with the team. That's exactly what the Niners did. And look at them.
Right. And in about 3 or 4 years, with that nice line, you can bring Kirk Cousins in.
We don't want him.
You can bring Kirk Cousins in. Oh, no, wait. Gets better. Bring Dak Prescott in.
Or how about Geno
We
Smith?
don't want him.
No, but you can bring in a real quarterback.
But you can bring a quarterback,
somebody.
not that you have a line.
You have you
That's
build a
all we're
team.
saying. You got to have a line. Without
Like
a
you said you brought in some linemen, you signed some linemen.
Right.
Then let's say you draft Neighbors from LSU. Now you got a weapon for Daniel Jones.
Right.
A couple years down the line, hopefully you can improve this O-line. It ain't got to be the best, but at least try and get like
Average.
middle of the field.
Yeah,
Yeah,
average.
And then if you got that and Daniel Jones
Like, I'll
still
take
sucks,
average.
then you bring in a quarterback with that team.
I'll take average O line any day. I haven't seen average O line since McKenzie.
I see this kid could flourish if he's got protection. I could see this kid flourish.
That's if he can get past his first read.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what protection
But
about.
what the evidence has shown that not even being protected
He
when
can-
he
he can
played,
flourish.
he guys won you a playoff game.
Right.
That's that's the thing. So it's like if you can improve this line
With
a little bit, you're
Saquon.
going in the right direction.
But that's with Saquon.
I mean, yeah, but
they have
Who?
Is this who they have now? Is it Swift?
Singletary.
They have Singletary out of. I know he was in Buffalo.
Saquon, Singletary. There's a big difference.
No. I understand.
But here's the thing:
But
if you build a line, any running back can have a solid year.
Yes.
It's really all about.
it's
the
all about that
overall
line.
but-
Yeah.
do you know that the Denver Broncos, when John Elway was the quarterback, and I know you'll probably remember this, okay? They literally had the best offensive line every single year.
Yep.
Okay, and I'll have to probably look back. And literally, it didn't matter who the running back was. They were getting over 1,000 yards every year.
Yep.
Different running backs.
Well, if you have a
Literally,
good
different
line. If you have a good line.
But
That's what we just said.
that's what we're saying.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right.
So you can't just be like, well, Barkley. Yeah, but if you get a line, then first of all, Barkley would have done even better, but you can bring in an
100%.
average running back. And running backs, you can just like rotate through them because they're coming in every year.
Instead, we wanted to pay our IQ guy as a quarterback.
And you have to live with it and build around them.
Live with it.
Our IP agent.
You just got to deal with it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you chose not to play.
Look, we both paid our quarterbacks, and we're just dealing with it. We paid Geno, y'all paid Daniel Jones. You just got to deal with it and continue to build around the team.
The difference is we're a little bit smarter than with our money. That's all. That's. I mean, not to joke around. Okay, it is a little joke, but the truth at the same time, we're a little bit better with our money.
No, you guys drafted good.
And we draft
And
good.
that's what you do.
And that's what you're supposed, to do.
All right, but what's next?
You know? So,
Let's move off of this trash team, bro.
you know, every time you keep saying move out, you do realize every time you say let's move on, you're the one that brought it up, right? You do realize that. Like,
Yeah,
for the
I know.
record.
It just
okay.
it triggers me.
I don't know why it triggers you. Where's the
They're
one?
trash.
He told you at the beginning that
trash.
he does not want to talk about the Giants. He warned you.
That's on him.
What do you,
He should have stopped me.
no, that's on you, bro. You want to open your mouth, bro? We'll shut it for you real quick.
Should have stopped
you
me,
know?
man.
Win
That's
or
what I'm
lose,
saying.
That's my team right there.
You know, but at the end of the day, that's how I think the draft is gonna go, no matter what. And I really do want to get into other teams right now.
Okay.
But certain individuals are not here right now, so I'm gonna savor that for a little later. That's all I'm gonna do. At this time, we're gonna come into an end on this episode. I just want to thank everyone out there, the viewers, for taking a look at our show, sending us the comments, hitting like and subscribes. Please send in your comments. We welcome them all, positive ones and constructive ones. And negatives.
We like the
Constructive.
negatives too.
Exactly. If you have any ideas for topics, please shoot it our way and we'll take it under consideration.
Have a good one, brother.
Thank you so much.
Good
And
one.
you folks have a good evening.